because on the one hand there was great joy, great anticipation of joy that this country in the north that had been controlled for so long by an enemy to our state and had blood on its hands from our state was going to change. And at the same time, there was great trepidation and great fear, because this journey put us as Kuwaitis, as Arabs, as humans in a difficult situation. So it was a very dramatic situation for me. And when I was commissioned at the time by Jam'iyyat al-Kharrijin to make a piece about that period, it was very clear to me that the piece had to have Kuwaiti actors and Iraqi actors stood together on one stage. In fact, I went further than that, and I wanted to include European actors, British actors, in fact, or American actors. It wasn't so important their nationality. The point is that there needed to be people speaking in English as well on that stage. So there were people speaking in Arabic who were from two very different countries, and people speaking in English. And in a very short amount of time, through a wonderful coalition of the will and desire of civic society, because it was really being driven by Jam'iyyat al-Kharrijin, it was being funded and promoted by Jam'iyyat al-Kharrijin, this work came together. And on the opening night of that piece that played in Masrah al-Shamiyya on the 1st of June 2003, and it was the first artistic response, Arab artistic response made to the events of the invasion of Iraq. And on the first night, I don't know if any of you attended that, it's something that I will never forget, but on that opening night, one of the star performers of the Kuwaiti troupe, whose name was Ken'an Hamed, Allah yarhamah, died on stage. Actually, he played his scene, it was a beautiful scene, and he left the stage and died, whilst the performance was still going on. And in the ensuing moments of chaos and panic that were going on backstage, there was a strange sense of unity and conviction that filled the team of actors, Kuwaitis, Iraqis, Americans, British, which was that this performance in which Ken'an Hamed had actually proposed the sigha, the shape of the final scene, that this performance, no matter what his state was at that moment, because there were paramedics there and no one knew if he was going to make it or not, but that the performance had to finish as a kind of tribute to this man. So as people galloped towards trying to give this tribute, no matter what might be the consequences, things then started to get out of hand. Somebody in the audience was informed, and that person in the audience read what was happening in a very, very mistaken way, and came onto the stage and said, they've killed him, العراقيين ذبحوه. كذي. And no one in the audience knew whether what was happening was part of the play or whether it was part of what? No one knew. But that sentiment of they've killed him, our enemies, our historical enemies have come now and killed one of our angels, came out at that moment and poisoned everything that piece was aiming for, and everything that ultimately Ken'an died trying to do. I should also say that Ken'an Hamed was one of the people whose brother had been assassinated during the invasion, and whose commitment to the Waban al-Jalid, that project, was one of the driving forces that allowed that project to happen. But then see what happened. In the press, over the next few days, in the Kuwaiti press, that sentiment of fear and reactionism came out again. And in more than one place it was suggested, either in the title, بالمنشطات, or in the way the articles were written, that somehow the evil hand of the enemy had come and taken one of our darlings, one of our men. And there was a real lesson, actually, in terms of how difficult it is to change a society. But also in that was a real call also to continue, to try, to propose shapes, questions and forms that are not necessarily easy to present, that may make you an enemy in the short term, but that actually within which a kind of true patriotism lies. Because I do believe that the identity of Kuwaiti theatre, Kuwait, myself as a Kuwaiti, is enriched by its involvement with the others, in the language of the others, with the questions of the others, not diminished. And I think that what art can do to reduce that fear that surrounds us and that threatens to engulf us into reactionary positions of, you are this, no, you are this, no, you are that, I don't like you, you killed him, and then, تبعاتها. But what art can do is propose those questions and make our sense of identity stronger through having the courage and the daring to propose such questions and present them to audiences. So that's not really what I intended to speak about, but إن شاء الله ما أكون طولت عليكم. يعطيكم العافية. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sulayman Al-Bassam.